All right, guys, Eric here with Mr. Carrot Gray. Appreciate you being here. Back for another video. In today's video, we're talking about senior golf swings. Now, even if you're not a senior player, this video is going to benefit you in terms of pieces you could put in for more contact, better contact, more consistency, more power. But especially if you're a senior golfer, and especially if you're a senior golfer that has left a comment or an email to Carrot, to me, which says, hey, you know, these videos are great, but I can't move like those younger guys, right? Oh, yeah. I don't have the flexibility, you know, like you guys do, or I can't turn during my backswing. And so really what we talked about is what could we do for you if you don't have maybe the flexibility or mobility, and we still need to get that all-important backswing turn, right, to set ourselves up for the downswing. So I know there's, I think, three sort of general keys we're going to talk about. And one of the things that Carrot said in the videos, and I like this, was that the better players, right, turn roughly 90 degrees with their shoulders during the backswing.
Correct. Yeah.
And then you were kind of like, amateurs don't.
Yeah.
I think that's a good starting point.
Period. Yeah. So as a reference, we would see that the professional golfer would tend to get their shoulders rotating approximately 90 or more degrees at the top of the swing. And the average recreational golfer does not. And they start to make compensations in one way or another to get length of backswing. Arms folding, lifting, shifting off the ball, but they're not going to deliver the results that they're looking for, right?
And just real quick on that, like, would you say that there is a one-to-one correlation with the fact that the better players do have the turn?
Correct.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, absolutely. And we don't need to get caught up in degrees. It's like the more turn that you get in the backswing, the more potential you have in the downswing to create an inside path, deliver that golf club with an ascending blow with driver, and get more power.
But what if I can't turn? I can't get that 90 degree. What could I do?
Yeah, well, look, everyone's different that plays this game. We've got different histories and sports that we've played, mobility, flexibility, so on and so forth. But there are a couple of keys that you can implement into your setup, which really encourage that extra little bit of turn. So as I get set up to the golf ball here, the very first tip that I would give everyone looking to get some more range of motion to the top would be simply just to shift their trail foot back, but also flare it open. And when you're flaring it, it's not just the toe, right? We need the toe and the kneecap flared open a few more degrees.
Great point.
Right?
Yes.
Now, this is key in a sense that you start from a neutral or aligned baseline and then you shift your foot back, because then otherwise we're going to see a lot of players just aim to the right.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
Yep.
So the first key here is to get this trail foot, drop it back with a little bit of flare.
Yeah.
That helps a lot.
Okay.
So as we do that, all of a sudden, Eric, and you can see what happened to my hips. You can see that they've shifted in an orientation where we're naturally going to get a little bit more open.
Yeah.
Right? Other benefits to that is that also puts you in a position where you're going to be able to get a little bit more tilt behind it, all things being equal, get greater rotation all the way to the top. So that's key number one.
I love that. And we're going to put on here some like Sam Snead for you guys to see. Really, really good model of being able to demonstrate that. Why don't I try that first, and we'll go into kind of key number two. So if I have my stance square relative to, let's say, a target line, and then I'm pulling the trail foot back.
Correct. I would put this toe in line with the mid of your front foot, and then just flare it a couple more degrees than what you would do normally.
So kind of like here.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a good reference point. And then the toes and the kneecap, you said, both out.
Yeah, because we do see a lot of players, if you go back to your neutral setup for me, they'll keep this knee pointed in, then they'll turn that, and then before you know it, we could snap our leg in.
That kind of defeats the purpose.
Yeah, exactly.
So the toe, that's a really good reference point. The toes are kind of more middle part of my foot.
Yeah.
In terms of how far back, and then the toes and the knee. Okay, we're out.
Right.
Now, and I want to add this to this because this is important too. I'm just going to grab this stick off camera here for a second. I would say for players that do this, it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world as you're doing it to put a little start line rod, you know, maybe on the right edge of your target, just so that like, hey, we're closing our stance line, but still having awareness of I got to start the ball somewhat on our target line.
I think that's very important. Having some alignment rods down as we've got as such, like a target line, one in front, and even just a baseline stick down here. So it generally feels that you're aimed straight, but we're just dropping this trail foot back.
Yeah, exactly.
Now when you do that, Eric, what do you feel like as you make a slow backswing now, that's going to encourage with that trail leg?
I feel like it's going to definitely make it easier for me to turn. It feels like it's easier to get my hands up and back, like more depth on the way back. And then that feels all things equal, like it could be really easy to deliver that club from inside.
Yeah.
Those are my initial sensations.
Yeah, absolutely. So why don't you knock one down there for us?
And the reason I say with that stick out there is like, so that I'm not looking to set up here and all of a sudden I'm hitting towards the pro shot. I'm still trying to launch the ball down the center part of the fairway. So feet square, pull the foot back. And I don't want to spend an hour on just this one part, but let's put the foot back and flared, and then we're launching it down the middle here. That was probably a draw, a little left with the draw, but like solid, powerful golf shot. I'd take that.
Yeah. I feel like you had so much more room at the top there when I was looking at the way that you were moving.
Ton of room. Now, let's say they get, let's flip-flop again. Let's say they get the first part in. Then what else can I do? And let's just say at the top, 90 degrees-ish is a term we're looking for. I could maybe cheat, 20 degrees of that with just the foot, right? So now that makes it like, okay, I have less to do going back. How about the legs and the feet, straightening that right leg a little bit or extending that trail side up on the way back? Can we do anything there to help us?
Yeah, absolutely. So the benefit of doing this checkpoint number one of like moving it back a little bit, that is going to orientate your foot in such a position with the flare that as you make your backswing, it's going to get this naturally wanting to lengthen. And players will feel that the first couple of times that they hit shots, just with that trail foot shifted back and slightly flared. The flare helps a lot.
Okay.
It really does. So after we've got that set up, back and flared, that's going to help add, like you said, maybe about 20 more degrees of shoulder rotation. But then as we're going into this latter stage of the backswing, just getting the sensation that we are getting a full lengthening of this trail leg all the way up to the trail shoulder, feeling like it is getting as high as we can. Because we see a lot of players, they won't get that extra element and few degrees of rotation simply because after even if they've done this, then they're staying down and off.
Yes.
So I really like the mental visual as players are making their backswing of getting the trail hip and the trail shoulder moving high and up and behind them. You can see in this feeling here.
Love that. Right. Let me try that part number two. So foot's back and flared with the kneecap out. And then when I go back and some of the leg work, as that right side is sort of extending, right, the hip. Some players get nervous about the trail leg extending, and I think most of them shouldn't, right? We should throw the Sam Snead up there. I'm not locking my leg out, but it's certainly extending to get that backside, the trail hip and the shoulder up and around. And are you okay with these players, let's say a senior golfer, even adding a little bit of the heel up off the ground?
Yeah, totally.
Just to help with some more?
Totally. It's all relative to you're able to create a disassociation between the upper and the lower body. We're not going to try and do anything that's going to cause you harm to your body by allowing that lead foot whatsoever to lift up. It's totally okay for that to happen.
So like what you're saying, and what I don't want to do is like, all right, keep the foot down, don't turn the hips, keep the right foot locked. That's kind of as far as I can go with my, you can even see where the club head is relative to target. Now watch when I let that trail side extend and the lead heel come up. All of a sudden that club head goes another 2 feet towards the target.
And not only did your hips turn, well, of course, at the top end here, we got another 20 degrees of rotation.
Let's go ahead and give that a go here. So again, guys, we're trying to give you ways to cheat this. If you're like, hey, I can't turn that full 90, no big deal. Let's find other ways to do it. Foot back and flared, kneecaps out.
That looks great.
Let that trail side extend. If the heel comes up a little bit, the heel comes up. I'm still looking down my target line here. What's that, about 400? That's about 405 on the track. So that's the second piece, right? Now, kind of in with that for the third piece of that is the hip turn. And it goes a little bit with what we just talked about there, but let's say a normal stock swing, just a 90 shoulder turn, 45 hip turn. But what if we allow the hips to go 50, 55, 60 even? Again, let's show Sam Snead's hip turn. He got a lot of hip turn in there. So the more we turn our hips back, the less need we have for that, mobility in that spine to have to turn. It's just another thing we can cheat that turn a little bit.
I think we couple this with the fact that when you are making this backswing, right, whenever you feel tension or resistance, it's usually a sign that you're doing something wrong. Right. So if I'm setting up here, and let's say I have a couple of deep breaths as I feel my whole body soften, and I just feel the flow of getting my belt buckle and that sensation pointing back towards the camera here. Well, like that is a lot of upper body turn. And sure, with my age and where I'm at with my golf game, I can do that. But for a lot of players, that'll give them that extra little few degrees that they might be looking for.
Exactly.
We get so many players, they're obsessed about rotation and the follow through. Whereas for most, if you can get sufficient turn in the backswing by putting together these tips, like the foot back and flared, feeling like that trail hip and trail shoulder gets behind them, and just allowing their body to be soft and relaxed as they get the belt buckle facing more back towards the camera, well, all of a sudden, they're going to be in a position which they've probably never experienced before.
Yep.
A lot of them are going to get nervous because they're going to have a blackout moment of,
what do I do
I've
from
never
here?
been up there.
Yeah.
But that's where leaning into the discomfort of getting themselves into that position is probably going to allow them to then get a level up on their performance like they haven't seen before.
Huge. And one of the things too, and we were talking before about people I've been playing golf more with us doing the on-course video, so I see a lot of, average amateur golfers. I'm watching someone tee off now. 99 out of 100 of the players that I see who do not hit the ball how they want to hit, do not turn and or make a backswing how they want to hit. So we get a really focused on what do I do through the ball when 99 out of 100 don't get to the right spot up to the top. Don't have enough turn.
Yeah, correct.
So especially, again, this is for senior golfer, we want power. This is not a video on how to hit the ball straight or down the fairway, although you may get that too. It's about the power, the pop off the ball, right?
Yeah, I would say that the more you turn, the more potential you have to hit the ball straighter anyway as a result.
Yeah, exactly. There's going to be some other good things you're going to get for free from there anyway.
Correct.
Foot back, foot flared, knee flared. I'm going to allow that trail side to extend. If the lead heel comes up a little bit, that's fine. And I'm feeling like I'm getting my belt buckle, my core, basically fully turned back towards the camera. In the beginning, I'm basically trying to turn my hips as much as humanly possible. If you get to the point where you sort of overturn on the way back, great.
Yeah.
We'll solve that next, right? Let's get the big turn.
And one last little tidbit here is just in the setup. It always really helps, just like you see with the professional. Bit of movement of the legs, bit of pumping of the arms, nice breaths before you go away.
Yeah, I'm not just stagnant over the ball. Okay.
Correct.
So same thing, looking at my target still, foot back and flared. Trail side extends, big hip turn on the way back.
All right, let's bomb.
Let's go ahead and give that a go. And that's another one. I mean, that's, again, like what you should see.
That's got him.
That maybe is 400. What you should see is increased distance relative to your normal. Are there going to be anomalies like John Rahm and Tony Finau who could hit it 320 from short backswings? Of course. But if you see Tony Finau wants to try and hit it 400 instead of 320, what's he doing?
Yeah.
Lengthening out the backswing. So Sam Snead did it fairly well, I think to the tune of 82 tour victories. Put some of those pieces in, increase the overall distance, and like Karen said there, you're going to get some things for free in addition. Better golf. Appreciate you, dude. Thank you.